So this is a story of how God saved me from a narcissistic marriage, even though I didn't realize it was a narcissist until 16 years into the marriage. And prior to that time, I had seen certain tendencies that made me uncomfortable, but I wasn't the type of person that would share my marital issues with other people, and so I kept it in my heart. I treasured those things in my heart, and later on, due to the power of the internet, I just stumbled on an online piece that told me about narcissism, and I decided to read more, and boom, it just clicked with everything that I was facing, and I was finally able to put a label to what I was experiencing. I was finally able to put a name to what I was facing. And I tell you, the day that I discovered what I was up against, I shuddered. Yeah, I was shocked beyond measure that a fellow human being could profess love and be mean and be sinister, that somebody who claimed to be a partner could do things behind my back that were against my progress, even though he professed love before me. It was hard. It was a bitter pill to swallow, to say the truth. I found it hard. I was shaking. I was feeling hot all at the same time just because of that revelation. And I tell you, the fact that I had been sleeping with an enemy, yes, suddenly dawned on me that I had been sleeping with an enemy. But God did show me the red flags earlier on in the relationship. I did see things that were deal breakers, but I glozed them over and still decided to go ahead with the marriage. Even though some people in my family were like, no, I shouldn't go ahead with it, I still went ahead with it. And I tell you, looking back, I know why I did that. I come from a narcissistic background where I wasn't validated at all. As in, no one told me you are enough. I always felt not enough. And so when I found someone who love bombed me, who gave me some sort of attention, who validated me, I felt I had met the one. I felt I had met my knight in shining armor. And so I just didn't listen to anyone who cared to say any other thing. I went ahead with it. And I tell you, I danced to the beat of my own drum. By the way, that is a cartoon and song that children listen to. And it so happens that Testimony, baby of our house, and my chief distraction officer. I call her my chief distraction officer. She's my CDO, and she does her work very well. And so she loves this cartoon. And so that is how I also found myself dancing to the beat of my own drum. I had made a choice, and I had to face the music on myself. I tell you, it was hard. It was brutal, at least as in, I don't even know how to explain it. The pain was intense. Oh my goodness. I don't wish for my enemy to face that kind of situation. And so my prayer after that was, God, deliver me. I didn't even know what to say in prayers because I was constantly tired. I was constantly overwhelmed. I had resentment issues. My heart was not in the right place because of what I was facing. It was hard. It was hard. And then everything I was experiencing, the stress, the chronic insomnia, the confusion, the resentment, the bitterness culminated in a nervous breakdown. And I found myself at the Yaba Psychiatric Hospital for 2 admissions, each admission lasting 3 months. No internet, no friend, no phone. You're just there with the other patients doing life, and you had to find a way to cope in your new surroundings. And I tell you, it was so hard for me that during my first admission, I was in the hall where all of us had our beds, and I looked up and I was like, God, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why? What am I doing in this hospital? I don't belong here. I was so angry at God that I stopped praying. I stopped reading the Bible. But you know this, our God is constantly patient with us till we come back home. And so he was patient with me as I sorted out my bitterness, as I sorted out my rage issues, as I sorted out my anger issues. I was so angry. Angry at life, angry at God, angry at, even though I had caused it myself, I made a choice. I couldn't even blame God, because I can't say God chose him, because God doesn't choose a partner for you. You do the choice and he blesses your choice. And so I had to come back, crawling back to God. And of course, with his hands open, he accepted me back. And when I did, he told me to trust him for deliverance. He specifically told me to trust him. And I had no other hope. So I had to just put all my hope and trust in him. And then that deliverance that God promised me then didn't come until much later, until 7 years later, which shows you that you got to be patient when you're dealing with God, because God ends in a hurry. There are 1,001 things that God wants to set right before delivering you. And so it took another 7 years for me to get that deliverance that God promised. And so I actually left and returned 2 times before I was finally able to leave at the third attempt. And the first time that I left, I went to Accra in Ghana for close to a year. It was a no-brainer for me to go to Accra, Ghana, because I was born and bred there. I did my primary and secondary school there. And so it was like home for me when I suddenly had emotional issues and I wanted to get to the roots of my issues. I wanted to understand what was happening, and I needed a space away to detox my soul, to detox my mind, to detox my spirit, to detox my body. I needed time away from the narcissist. And so I took that time away. And during that time, God used that opportunity to show me the meaning of true love. He actually pointed me to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which I call the love chapter. And then he began to show me love is respect. And that if somebody professes love for you, the person should respect you. And I didn't have that in my own marriage. Oh, God also showed me that love is not pain, and that I should stop equating love with pain. So many things that he taught me. He used the opportunity to also show me who he really is, who he really was. I saw the narcissist in his true colors, and I made up my mind to quit my marriage. I got back to Lagos and told close family members my decision, but somehow I found myself back in my matrimonial home. And before then, I had made up my mind, to be honest. But like I said, I found myself there, and I had checked out mind, body, and spirit. I had checked my mind out. I had checked my spirit out. It was just my body that was there. And so I also knew that I could not unsee all that I had seen. And there were no changes. No, there were no, I didn't see changes when I got back, confirming my decision to leave. And so there were the same things that had led me to leave in the first place, kept repeating themselves. I was facing gaslighting on all fronts. I was being emotionally manipulated. The lies were on another level. The deception was top notch. And then don't even get me started on the projection. Also, the flying monkeys, they were as loyal could be. And then the respect was and the disrespect was something else. I knew it was just a matter of time for me to leave again. And when I did, it was to have my last baby. I honestly didn't know I was pregnant until 3 months in. I hated the fact that I was going to have another baby for the narcissist, but I patiently saw the pregnancy through and had a baby girl. I still hadn't learned to have a mind of my own after the baby, and so somehow I was convinced to put up with the abuse because of the kids. You know, when you are in our environment here, people always say, oh, the kids are important. Because of the kids, you should put up with anything that you go through in your matrimonial home, that our parents stayed for the kids. And so all that went into my head, and I also thought it was wise. But shortly after getting back into my matrimonial home, I knew it was a mistake, honestly. I started crying every night to God, and He assured me of help. One day, I clearly heard Him ask me to leave, and I leave. I didn't wait for permission. I didn't wait for closure. I didn't wait for an apology. I didn't need all that. All I needed was for God to say, go ahead. And once it did, I left alone with the promises of God. But He saw me through the landmines. He saw me through the challenges. He saw me through all that I faced. Because I tell you, living was just one part of the equation. There was another hell that started after I left. And that is why I always tell people who live narcissistic abuse that it is in 3 stages: your deliverance, and then your wilderness experience, and then the promised land. You have to go through those 3 stages. And so it was horrifying after I left too. And so God truly delivered me as He promised, but I had to trust Him implicitly. I had to hold on to His promises. I had to wait for Him to do what He said He was going to do. And I wasn't going to be entitled about anything. I waited for God to work when He wanted to work. And so these are some lessons from my story of God's deliverance from a narcissistic marriage. The first one is God is still in the business of delivering His daughters who trust Him from narcissistic marriages. And so if you believe in God, you trust Him, He's definitely going to see you through. And the second lesson is we have to partner with God to get deliverance. But God gives us the power, but we got to do the walking away. All 3 times that I left, I did the walking away. God didn't do that for me. He gave me the courage to do it, but I had to do it anyhow. I had to find a way to do. You know how they say, do it afraid? I just did it. And so you have to partner with God in this journey. It's not something that you will sit and say, oh, I am praying, God will do it, God will do it. God will not do what you can do for yourself. He will only do what you cannot do for yourself. And so you got to partner with God, and God still heals emotional wounds. And I'm a living proof of that. Every day I am amazed by the kind of progress I have made with my emotional issues. It's amazing, and all the glory belongs to God. Also, God still restores, as He has restored me in ways I never thought possible. He has restored me manifold. And so God is still in the business of restoration. And then the entire experience taught me so many things about myself, taught me so many things about God, revealed childhood wounds that I needed to heal, and trust in God is never misplaced. That is one lesson that I learned heavily. Trust in God is never ever misplaced, because God is a prayer answering God. And I also learned that God's mercy speaks for us even when we make mistakes, because I did make a mistake with my choice of life partner, but God's mercy spoke for me. And so this is a story of how God delivered me from a narcissistic marriage. And if it resonates with you, do let me know in the comments. And don't forget to download a 100% free ebook, which is available as a gift to you for watching this video. Now, this book is titled 11 Bible Keys to Heal Narcissistic Abuse. And if you request for it right away, you get 2 extra books. The first one is 10 Bible verses that saw me through narcissistic abuse, and 13 affirmations that saw me through narcissistic abuse. The link to download will be in the description. Do check the description right away. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in my next.